So, I'd like to call to order the Armory Park Historic Zone Advisory Board of February 17th, 2026 at 6:31 p.m. By on Zoom. And we'll do a roll call. I'm first on that list, so Stephen Grady is here. Maurice Roberts, you can unmute. Aye. Stan Schuman. So Stan Schuman is not here yet. Matt Smith.
Here.
Lynn Sutherland.
He's on mute.
I'm here.
Thank you. Martha McClements
Here.
and John Burr.
Here.
And I would like to welcome our two new board members and a member who's probably going to be on the board as of tomorrow, and that's Jan Mulder, and who is here. So, Jan Mulder, welcome.
Thank you.
So, I would then like to have the guests introduce themselves. This will be helpful for the minutes.
Hi, this is Wally Gasser.
Thank
Can
you.
you tell them what project you are here for, please?
Let's see.
Wally Garcia is here for the 726 South Bean Avenue.
Miles.
Yes, correct.
Oh, yes. Hi, my name is Miles Pena. Worked with y'all recently on 702 South 3rd, but now I'm here working on 720 South 3rd. I'm an architect and also teach design studios at the U of A.
Thank you.
And I'm Sophia Rower, and I am putting up a proposal for an ADU with Miles of the property that I own, which is 720 South 3rd. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too, and thank you for joining us this evening. Have I missed anyone? Well, of course, Michael Taku, who is so Michael, do say hello.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Taku. I'm a lead planner in the Historic Preservation Office. I facilitate history review for this board.
Thank you. Okay, so the next order on the agenda is item 2. So at this point, we do not have Stan Schuman, but we have all the other members. Number 2 on the agenda is review and approval of the legal action report, LAR, or minutes from the meeting of December 16th, 2025. And do we have a motion and or comments?
I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll do a conditional second. I thought we should have been a little clearer and the audio was clear on Stan's motion regarding the window grills, but I can report that when it went to PRS, they noticed the same thing and the designer came up with the right design. So it's kind of a moot point. So I'll second with that understanding.
What is the understanding, John?
It doesn't matter at this point, Michael. It's fine.
Okay. So you're seconding the motion to approve the legal action report as submitted?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, questions or comments at this time? Discussion? Then I'll call the for roll call for starting with Maurice Roberts.
Aye.
Matt Smith.
Aye.
Then Sutherland.
Aye.
Thank you. Martha McClements
Aye.
and John Burr.
Aye.
And Steve Grady, aye. The motion passes unanimously. So, review and approval of legal, oops, I already took care of that. Number 3, call to the audience for public comments. Michael, were there any public comments received by 5 p.m. on February 16th?
No, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. So,
I know you're accustomed to working with your history.
yeah.
Yes. So then there's no items for the call to the audience. And now we can begin item number 4, which is historic review cases, UDC section 5.8, TSM 9-02-0, historic district guidelines, revised Secretary of the Interior standards and guidelines. And then it would be item A, which is SD 1225-00196 TC-RES-1025-04977. This is 726 South Bean Avenue. And we have probably a presentation. So is there someone who would like to present?
So, Mr. Chair, before we go to the
Oh, yes, please.
presentation, from our office, we are starting a new thing here, and we would like to get your feedback on it. I believe that you all receive executive summary, which is a staff review on this case, and you had the opportunity to look at it. What we are trying to do here is to give you the perspective, our own perspective as staff, on the items that are submitted for you for review, give you some background on the property, and
All right,
provide.
sorry I'm on.
Okay, so sorry, Michael. For the minutes at 6:38 p.m., Stan Schuman joined.
Thank you. So you have a copy of the staff summary. If there are any question on this summary for staff, we can answer it before you or during your review, but it gives you the perspective of what the staff has looked at this. We would like your feedback by the end of this, because this is the first time we are introducing it here. We want to see how it goes. It may not be perfect, but we are giving you our own eye view of what this project is all about. Which basically, in the case of this project, as you will recall, it had come before you as a courtesy review. Prior to that, there was already an owner who was proposing some duplexes on that vacant lot. It was reviewed and approved, and those plans are also included in the package that you have. The current design is a bit different from what was initially proposed. They brought it to you, and we believe that based on the feedback that you gave them during your courtesy review, they have updated their plans, because this was reviewed in June 17, 2025. So they have also updated their plans to meet some of the things that you have said. Staff does have some comments, which they were also comments that were provided to the applicant from the boards. And I believe you will be discussing that, and you have that in our executive summary. One of the big things that has happened in this review is that when the previous applicant came before the board, I believe it was 2022, 2022, something like that.
2017 and 2018.
Okay. There were no properties within the development zone which could allow the height which the applicant was looking for at that time. And so the applicant went through an expanded development zone, which was given by the zoning administrator to expand the development zone for this particular project right up to another property which was located at 404 East 17th Street in order to permit the height. That determination that for that expanded development zone was provided as part of your material. So this particular project is is making use of that expanded development zone because the property that is being used for the height comparison would have been outside the development zone. But because of the expanded development zone, this project is able to benefit from the height of that property which was provided in 2018. That is part of our summary here, the background, this background information. And you will find on our staff summary, our findings, we have given a couple of recommendations for your consideration as a board. And then we have this table that talks about where you have new construction and non-contributing property. This one is a non-contributor because it is proposed to be built on a vacant lot. So it is actually a non-contributor. And so the section on the contributing property actually is kind of mute here because there is no structure there that is contributing. And we go through the item by item to say that any items that staff believe that are in compliance. So you will find certified, does not certify, and non-applicable. So you will see our own evaluation as we have here. This does not mean, Mr. Chair and members of the board, it does not mean that the conclusions or the evaluation from staff is all what you should be looking at. You have to make your own independent judgment on this because your own opinion and that of the staff may differ. But this is what we are proposing to be using going forward. So by the end, let us know how this has helped you in your review, what is helpful, what we can do to improve this. Because by the end of the day, the Historic Preservation Office, we are about process improvement. So we're just looking for things that we can do to improve the process, to make the review much more easier for you and for also the applicant. So with that, I will end my presentation on this because I have everything spelled out here. So if there is any specific question that you have or which you have in the course of your review, this report is authored by me, so I will be more than willing to answer any questions that you have. But I will let Wally be the co-host so you can share your screen, Wally, and present your project. And please just remember that because you had come for a courtesy review, you are now officially presenting this to the board for the board to take action. The board may choose to recommend approval as presented, may recommend approval with conditions, or the board may decide to deny the project, or may decide to recommend denial, or the board can continue the case for a future date. So give your presentation as you were presenting to the board for the very first time, and be aware that you are asking for them to take action on this today, because during the courtesy review, no action was taken. Thank you, and you are the co-host, so you can share your screen.
Okay. Thank you.
If I can,
Michael.
Excuse me, can I
Yeah.
ask, I don't have a hand raiser thing.
Yeah.
Chair Grady, could I ask one question of Mr. Taku? Would
yes,
you indulge me?
yes, please.
And it was just a clarification as to whether the expanded development zone was actually assigned to the property or to that specific prior development.
No, it is assigned to the property, and any other property owner within this area can use that expanded development
Oh,
zone.
okay. So it lasts in perpetuity, essentially, you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please begin.
Okay. Thank you. Um, excuse me. I suppose that I'll just address the item that you're talking about, the non-contributing aspect that was approved for the previously approved project for um, additional, or excuse me, a height encroachment or height exceeding the allowable height. We don't propose any, or excuse me, height above one of the properties in the development zone. We're proposing one of the front unit is the front unit is approximately 22 feet, and then I think the rear unit is 24 feet, and those are within the limits of uh, two properties in the development zone that I call out in the HPZ checklist on page 1, or sheet T1. Um, and so just to summarize the
Mr. Wale,
yeah,
can you please share your plans? Discuss the plans as you go, please.
can I share the plans?
Sure.
Oh, actually I'm not. Oh, you don't have access to that. I'm sorry. I'm not very. This is my second time using Zoom. So uh, I I was under the impression that you were reviewing the plans as we went along, but sorry.
I would be happy to share them if it's challenging for you. It's just hard
I
to.
wouldn't know where to start. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So, Michael, if you could make me co-host, I would be happy
Sure.
to share.
I'll
Um,
do that. I'll do that, Mr. Chair. All right. So
I need to turn this.
I can do that.
It smells good.
Mr. Chair, you're good.
Okay. So I think that you're able
Oh,
to
thank you.
see my screen.
Yeah, I see it.
And is this, just let me know. I don't
Yeah.
imagine you have anything you want to address here. So here's the first sheet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The first sheet is just a response letter to comments that Michael provided.
Okay.
So this actually the second sheet. If you could go to the second sheet, this is that's the third sheet. If you excuse me. Yeah. So this. Wait, am I able to control this also or no? Okay,
No,
never
we
mind.
cannot.
No, that would just be me, but
Oh, okay. I see this little
I
tab.
apologize if I'm not sharing the right sheet. So
The second sheet, yeah, right there. That's okay. So that is essentially the overlay, the development zone overlay, and then on the left margin is a checklist. Is the checklist, the HPZ checklist, and then the right is there on the right side is a code and site code checklist, summarizing coverage essentially and the building parameters. So if you go to the checklist on the left margin, to the top.
Just a quick comment that
Yes.
eligible and non-verified, neither of those are contributing structures. They're too new.
Right. Yes.
And it doesn't matter for this conversation, but just you might want to change that when you have to adjust your plans.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, which?
So if you pull up the image of the development zone,
yeah,
you have the third one down on South Third as being eligible. It's not. It was built in the 90s. And the one on
the third one down on.
It says
okay.
EL.
Right.
Bottom one on Third is actually, I think it was built in 2009. That one.
That
so
one.
It's non-contributing.
Okay, what does NV mean? Okay, well,
it says
there's a legend. What?
It's your legend says not verified, but it's non-contributing.
Oh, okay. I got this from okay.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I got this information from a like a contributing map of the neighborhood. So okay, so you're saying there's an updated map.
I'm just saying I know those two buildings and they're new.
So okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So if it says need to verify, it wasn't. Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't reference that. I don't reference that building. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Fine.
Right. Okay. So so as far as the height is concerned, so there are at the top of the list is the height. So there are two contributing properties that I guess just justify the heights that we're using. They're 2-story. And so I guess so we'll just go down the list as far as parameters go. I guess there was I saw a comment earlier about that we would be asking for to encroach on the allowable setback, and so is because we're asking for 4 feet setback, but actually I'm a little unclear what the allowable setback is under the new middle housing code, or is that what's typically applicable here?
5 feet.
Is it 5? Okay, is it 5 feet?
5
okay,
feet, not 4 feet. But
I thought it was 4 feet. So okay, so we would like to request.
But if you can show the standard setback is 6 feet or 2/3 height.
Yeah. Yes.
But if you can show that there are other buildings that have less setback, you can ask that the board waive.
Yeah.
Those.
Oh, well, that certainly is the case in this development zone. Yeah. But we would be using the middle housing code, which doesn't use or take into consideration the vertical part of the old setbacks, I guess you'd call it. Is that correct?
It still has to be compatible with the site utilization for the HPZ zone.
Right. Okay.
But it's a factor we have to consider.
Okay. There certainly are. Yeah. Okay. There certainly are or contributing properties that have setbacks less than well, some are 0, but yeah, so are with setbacks less than the 5-foot standard. Okay, so we're proposing a vehicular or a parking area in the front. one unit per or excuse me, one parking space per unit, and that actually provides a decent front setback for on the site. Um, if we can go back to the list. Um, the architectural, well, the primary architectural details are um, compatible with certain contributing properties that are called out in the the HPZ checklist, such as flat arches, um, brick sills at the windows, or excuse me, red brick sills, and excuse me, red brick flat arch. Um, I specified wood windows and doors. Um, there is a red brick capital at the top of the walls, at the top of the parapets that are compatible with the actually the property to the south. And those are maybe we can go to the next sheet, or yeah, the elevations. So these elevations are very much compatible with the property to the south, and then that's a contributing property. And then there's a red brick building, or two-story red brick building at the northeast side of the development zone, or the northeast corner, or northwest corner.
You think that those are your photos? Okay.
Yeah.
Floor plans are farther down.
I was looking for, I think those are the photos you're referencing for um, uh, features within the development zone.
Correct. Yeah. And I guess one of as far as building materials goes, we're proposing rammed earth, which I provided. If you go down one sheet, go up one sheet. Yeah, right there. So at the bottom of the sheet, I provide pictures of rammed earth, and I would argue that. I would argue that in a lot of ways, rammed earth is almost indistinguishable from stucco. Um, I don't know, especially if it's done like, really monolithically, or, in a smooth fashion. But I think that, we may want to take into consideration that also that it's while there aren't many examples, or excuse me, examples of rammed earth in the even like an expanded development zone. It's sustainable, um, and just in general, I think you could say it's almost indistinguishable from stucco. I don't know what or how you feel about that.
I think that will be up for discussion, but
Yeah.
doing a good job of reviewing the plans, and the plans have been
Yeah.
available to the board members.
Yeah.
And so there probably has been an opportunity to look at the plans. And so what we may want to do is to,
Mhm.
and then these are the renderings, the
Correct.
perspectives, which should be helpful in understanding the massing and the scale and the size and how the buildings interrelate.
Hmm.
And even thoughtfully to show the garbage enclosures. Um, and we may want to open it up to questions. I am curious, these
Yeah.
plans down
Yeah.
here, how do they relate?
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are the previously approved plans.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're labeled as such on the lower
yes.
right, the header.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Which
They're
would,
actually technically not the approved plans. They were the submission plans, and they're what's available online. But
Okay.
but so, for instance, the West Building had a required setback from the western property line of 7 feet in the approved plan, and there were no side-to-side slider windows, and there were no metal doors.
Mm.
So the actual approved plans, which don't show up online, are slightly modified from this, and you can. It went to. I looked up the old LARs from both Armory Park and Plans Review, and the approval letter from the planning director, and so they're close. It does show, for instance, the front parking was approved and a 24-foot building and modified setbacks. But other than that, they're very different projects, except that they're two structures.
so we're addressing the this proposal here. So,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment just so I can see everybody. So if anybody was to raise their hand, but are there questions from board members? Maurice.
Okay, I'll start. Uh, First of all, I am pleasantly surprised. After almost 8 years on the board, we have a staff report from the planning and development people, and I think it's very good. I was, again, like I said, very pleasantly surprised. Okay. It lays out, the different issues that we're going against over here. And I appreciate that. I think this is very good. I wish to see it in future projects. As far as this particular project here, I feel very concerned having to approve a plan which is not the approved plan, which is a previous iteration of that plan. So I don't know how far we want to go into this, since the plan that we're looking at is not actually the plan which was approved. Is that correct, John?
Well, there. It's been through three owners since. The rules have changed, and this is an entirely different application. But with the middle housing rules and the ability to develop that lot, there's a couple standards. We know that 24 feet is the top height. We know that two duplexes can be built on the site, and we know that parking can be allowed in front. And that's kind of what we can take from those old plans. But this is a different plan, and it is being presented. So I think we ought to respond to that based upon the code and our understanding of what our purview is.
So,
And
yeah, Mr. Chair,
if, if
Mr. Chair, members of the board, your president today is not to focus on the plans that were submitted the last time. Your job today is to evaluate the present plans that are submitted to you. So this was just included in the package just for reference, just for information. You should not dwell on that, please. Let's focus on the proposal which is before you, just like John said.
Thank you.
Okay, now I do have one more concern,
Yes.
and it has to do with round Earth. I'm familiar with round Earth walls, and I'm familiar with round Earth single-story buildings. I don't have any feedback. I don't have any feedback, any experience with multiple story round Earth building.
Oh, it's feasible. It's
Okay, do we have any documentation that would tell us that it's okay to use that? And
okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I
No,
love
I can obtain that if you like. But yeah, it's pretty. I mean, as far as I know, it's common practice.
Quick technical
well,
question from Michael. I
Yeah.
assume their rammed earth have been allowed in Tucson and the building codes address it, Michael?
I don't know the building code, John, so I really don't want to
Okay.
answer a question on building
It,
code that
there's a
I
prescriptive code for that Pima County has adopted, and so I. But as far as the city of Tucson, I mean, it's engineered, um, or it would fall under. It would be required to be engineered.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, if this kind of construction is not in your development zone, is not in Armory Park, you can make that kind of recommendation to say this does not exist in our development zone in Armory Park. You have the right to say that. I cannot speculate as to whether it exists in other part of the city of Tucson or not. I don't know that.
So
I think it's a double issue. I mean, obviously there isn't any multi-story round earth buildings in Armory Park. That's one point. The next point, and again, I am 100% for round earth. It's just that I don't remember, okay, in more than 20 years being, interested in round earth, seeing, a building which is more than one story. So uh, maybe it would be nice to have some kind of documentation. Okay, number one. Number two, uh, is it approved, by the city of Tucson? I mean, show us one example within the city of Tucson of a multi-story round earth building.
so
Okay, yeah, sure.
So Maurice, I think that might be a little bit outside of our purview because we're really here to look at the aesthetics and the appropriateness. We may have concerns about its structural integrity, but that would not be something that we would address as part of our purview. But I think that your concern can definitely be noted.
Okay.
I can provide that if you would like, also. I mean,
Stan.
Okay, in regards to the rammed earth, I have no problem with the two-story aspect of rammed earth, and it certainly is an approved material for use for residential construction. The problem I have is whether or not it's appropriate material for usage in the Armory Park area. They have used Army rammed earth in the barrio. I've seen several locations where they've used it, and
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm against it. I think that it's something that we need to discuss as an advisory board of whether or not we want to introduce a brand new material into the neighborhood as a structural element that actually forms the foundation of a house. I think that's something that every one of us should take a close look at and say whether or not we want to approve that as such. I mean, we talked about it last time, and we talked about having it stuccoed. Now, I know that the way it's detailed right now, or at least the way it appears to me to be detailed, the rammed earth is well taken care of or protected on the windowsills and on the parapet cap. So I think that's fine. The only thing I didn't see in terms of protection was how you handle drainage off of the roof, and do you have downspouts or you just have scuppers, or what are you doing in terms of
Yeah,
water off
we would
the roof?
have downspouts.
They
Yeah.
need to be shown or should be shown on the drawings that were submitted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You understand that?
They would be like commercial downspouts that are inside of the wall, and then um, discharge at grade level.
So you're hiding
Uh,
those
Kind of like
downspouts in the wall.
correct, yeah. Kind of like a commercial type,
What are you using for commercial
concealed
downspouts?
concealed. What's that?
What are the commercial downspouts made out of?
Steel.
And how are you controlling the joints? Because if you get water into the adobe, you have a problem
It's
with it.
not Adobe. It's Ram. Well,
I mean, it
it's
rammed earth. I mean,
yeah,
you get
rammed
water.
earth, but it's stabilized with concrete. Excuse me, cement. It's cement stabilized. So I mean,
Well,
it has the
I think
properties. Yeah,
my big question
yeah.
is the general appearance of rammed earth, since it's not being used in any location that I'm aware of in Armory Park. It is
Mhm.
used, like I said, in the barrio, and I know that's an acceptable material. So I think it's one thing we should address as a group, so that if it ever comes up again, we have some
Mhm.
recognition of precedence or rejection, whatever the situation may be. On
Yeah.
the parking, you don't show a calculation on your parking, but you got a 3 bedroom and two one bedrooms. So that technically adds up to 4.25 stalls. Now I know you can't get 0.25 stalls in it, but based on the code. But in a 3 bedroom, you can almost guarantee that you're going to probably have two, maybe three cars. Again, we're meeting the letter of the law of the code in terms of parking requirements. But what's happening is that when we push our parking requirements, we start pushing cars onto the street, which is an acceptable means of parking. But you know, the one thing I had a problem with the All Saints is that they were putting over 20 cars on the streets. And this project I accept, and I appreciate the scale of it and everything that's going on with it. But I'd like us to be aware that, if we keep allowing projects that go beyond the required parking available, we're pushing more and more cars onto the street. Now, I don't know that there's a reason to object to this project because it is meeting the intent of the code, or the code, uh, letter of the code. But we are most likely going to have more than not, we're not going to have adequate parking. There will be some parking on the alleys. Other comments that I had is that on your sheet A5, you list Windows 6, 3, 6, and 14 as casement. Why can't they be single hung windows?
Oh, I think because those are in the shower.
Well, if you got casement, you got movable windows. Why can't, if you got an operable window in
Uh-huh.
the shower, why can't it be, why can't it still be double hung or single hung?
I'm not sure about that, but I don't know. I think it's just the action of the window. Like I
Well,
think single
you got
hung
to,
would get water in between the two panels. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. What is that not?
well, we don't,
Basements are not preferred, or
yeah, casements are not preferred.
oh, okay. Oh, well then whatever. I mean, it doesn't really.
I think that's what
I'm not
we could bring it up
preferential.
with the rest of the
Yeah.
committee, but my preference is that either make them double hung or fixed or something other than the
Okay.
casement. You
Okay.
also have a weird number on that, and you got number 3, you got two windows, but I can only find one. And window type 4, which is fixed, you say you got four, and I can only find one. So I don't know what's going on there, but unless I'm missing something, but there's a problem on the plans where you notate the quantity.
Okay.
On sheet A1, uh,
Yeah.
your original drawing showed a 2/2 double hung window, but you went just with a 1/1 double hung window. Is there a reason you went away from the 2/2?
Uh, oh, okay. I'm sorry. What's the
Your,
location?
your, your, your window types on the
Yes.
original submittal
Yes.
showed a 2/2. That's two panes over two panes. But now you just have a single pane over a single pane for the single hung windows. Is there a reason that you went away from the 2/2 windows?
Oh, yeah. I think that's for ease of construction.
Well, there's no ease of construction there. I mean, go back down the sheet, maybe, Steve, go all the way down to the bottom.
Hmm?
Keep going. All right, we're
Wait,
staying right there. So you got 2/2.
wait, but this is
No, no,
not
no,
that's
no,
not the
no.
project.
That's not the project in question. Sorry.
Yeah. That's the previous approved project or yeah, excuse me, the previously proposed project.
I understand that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that you indicated to us that those window types were 2/2. And I'm asking you, why did you go away from the 2/2? Because, you know,
What?
if
I
the,
wasn't involved in the previous project.
all right, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even look at those plans before
All right, I guess I don't know if
before we
that's a
developed the
matter
plans.
that we as an advisory board wants to look at. I mean, the
Yeah.
2/2 are very nice, and I don't know if there's any in that development area that are 2/2,
Oh,
or
I see.
just single 1/1.
But I tend to get away from any windows that are like too wide. I think they're prone to
It has
like
nothing to do with the width.
malfunction. Oh, okay.
It's just an expression of where that mullion is.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's all it is. We can,
Uh,
that's a minor issue. I don't know that anybody wants to address that or not. You've got a 5 foot high wrought iron fence in the front. That's supposed to, that should only be about 4 feet. Again, that's not a big item. Why was
okay.
it 5 feet?
For safety. I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah. For safety.
All right, and then the fence design also, you show no pole or post locations. And obviously you're going to have some posts, but you don't indicate what the size of those posts are. I hope they're, and they're not big ones. I mean, two by two vertical posts are more than
Okay.
adequate to support that.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. It's
so maybe show that in that detail, because you show a detail,
okay.
you show a
Yeah.
5 foot high fence. I mean, the
Yeah.
fence looks appropriate. I don't have a problem with that, but you don't show the spacing on the post or what size the posts are.
I see. Okay.
On A2, your perspectives, your roof plan shows a deck going up for the back unit.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
you're going up on that roof deck.
Yes.
Uh, you have to have a certain height as a guardrail uh,
Yes. Mhm.
along the edge, but you don't show that consistently over the entire roof. But you don't show any fence stopping people from going onto the entire roof. So my question is, are you going to have to
Right.
change the parapet height in order to make your guardrails meet code requirements?
Yes.
So what are you doing? Are you raising
What?
the height of the entire parapet around the entire roof?
The parapet, no, there would be like there would be a fence like in the interior portion of the roof that would basically divide the roof into a court. Well, it
Well,
would
you're not
the roof.
showing that for us, so I think that's
Oh,
something
okay.
that should
I
be
can.
indicated.
I mean, it's really not visible, or it's not really visible from the adjacent
If
uh
you're looking, if
properties,
you're
but I can
looking,
do that. I can do that. Yeah.
if you're looking at the elevations and you're showing me a parapet and I can see a higher parapet, you would see the fence beyond that. So I,
Yeah. Right.
so that means you've got to have a fence that goes along a width of
Yeah,
the.
really, the roof deck would occupy 1/4 of that roof area. So,
Okay,
yeah,
if as you're looking
yeah,
at that
yeah,
elevation, then
yeah,
you've got a short portion on the west side of that building that
yeah,
stops short of where that
correct.
fence is going to go. So are you going to have to extend that all the way to the other wall that's on the south elevation?
No, no, no. The roof deck would occupy 1/4, a quarter of the um, roof area.
All right, so you're going to have a fence that only takes, well, I'm not too sure. your 1/4 of
One
the
fourth.
entire roof?
What's that?
1/4 of the entire roof or 1/4?
Correct.
Well,
So Wally, I don't know if everybody can see my mouse. Are you
Yes.
talking about this area here being the 1/4
Well, divide it into a half.
right here?
Divide that. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
so
So
you're
you
going to have a fence there that keeps people from going onto the roof.
A rail, yes, correct.
A
so
rail,
you would
sorry.
have something that would come in across here and then in
Correct.
across here.
Correct.
Okay.
And that height would meet the guardrail height for residential construction, which I think is
Correct.
36 inches.
Yeah, currently the parapet is like 3'6" above the roof height. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, so that will be noted on there then.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
I,
mean,
I don't have any problems with the setbacks. I've
yeah.
already addressed the issue with the parking off the alley.
Hmm.
And then there's an existing wood fence along the north property line that's in very poor condition. In fact, you've got things that are leaning against it to keep it up. Is that coming down?
I haven't really examined the. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I
Well,
haven't.
there's
It,
another corrugated metal roof or metal fence behind it. So why do?
correct. Yeah. So that could be coordinated with the. That could be coordinated with the neighbor. Well, I mean, yeah. No, that wood fence could be removed
Well, I think it
hypothetically.
needs to be noted on the drawings then, because
Okay.
it's an ugly site, and I just, I'd rather see it removed because you've got a nice fence or otherwise.
It's actually
Yeah.
the neighbor's fence, and he's got two fences, and the brick
Yeah,
wall is the neighbor's
yeah,
too.
there's like
Yes. Yeah.
just a
Yeah. All
couple of,
that is technically on the neighbor's property.
That's their fence.
Yeah, and that brick, see that brick wall? It used to be part of a building, I think, and then it's just still there. But that is technically on the
all right,
neighbor's
all
property.
right.
Yeah,
Can you do me a favor? Can you talk to
yeah,
your neighbor and see if they will allow you to take it down? Because with the existing
yeah,
fence, I think visually it would be nice to clean up that entire north elevation.
yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Matt, you had your hand up second.
Yeah, I have a couple issues to talk about. One being the setbacks. I have no issues with the setbacks on the north and the south, but I want to talk about the setbacks on the west. I think 4 feet along that western property line is too close, especially for the neighbors, and I'm more or less advocating for those neighbors. Um, in the direct vicinity, there is precedent both with the building directly to the south with the zero lot line and the 2 stories, the apartments farther south. But none of these have that condition with a lot that close and a building that close. At least it's 6 feet with the apartment complex farther down on Bean. So I'd like to see at least 6 feet on that western property line.
So you're
That
I agree, Matt.
I,
I just couldn't get my little hand to come up.
so you're talking about this small piece of this portion.
Yeah, that's the west
That's the
property
west
line.
side. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd at least like to see that one 6. I'm fine with the north being 4, and then the south
Okay,
at 10 feet is all right too.
okay.
The other item I'd like to talk about is the landscaping requirements. So I apologize, this middle housing is new to everybody and new to me, but I just want to run through the bullet items that are listed for the landscaping because I don't think you're giving yourself enough space for these items. So
Mm.
one tree for every 1,000 square feet of gross floor area. Um, Existing trees can count if they're not in the way of the building. You do have some existing trees on site. Maybe they can be worked around.
Actually, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
50% of the new trees must be placed in the front yard. Um, Trees must be
Okay.
planted in 6 inch depressed planting areas. I only see 1 inch basins on the plan. And then if you don't have the room for trees, it says 5 shrubs may be substituted for one for each new tree.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be able to meet. We can meet those guidelines. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure you're giving yourself enough room, and especially with the landscaping requirements with the middle housing, we want to make sure those are included.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't provide a landscape plan, but I kind of fleshed out some lands in the rendering. I you know placed some plants or there definitely are some areas that can be used for planter areas.
Do you
Is
have,
it possible to move that building on the west end another 2 feet away from the property line so that they can get to 6 feet?
On the west, yes. Oh yeah, yeah,
All right, so we'll make that part of the condition then.
yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Was it 7 feet in the previous incarnation? And is there a reason why it shouldn't still be 7 feet? Or is 6 feet standard?
Well, the walls are we're proposing shorter walls.
24 feet?
Yes.
The original building that was approved had a 7 foot setback, but it had a balconies that stuck out 3 feet and a kind of a metal hanging awning over the deck area. So it was effectively it got moved in, but the setbacks we're supposed to consider are relative. We should consider the thing. So the minimum setback probably should be 5 feet. The problem with the western unit on the original plans was shorter, and so less area was affected for the neighbor to the west than this one. But it's an entirely different plan. I agree, though, that a new 24-foot high wall, 4 feet from a property, looking down into your yard for the neighbor to the west is a little bit
Invasive?
invasive. So I would advocate for pushing that building into the lot as much as is possible.
Especially since, Wally, when you were asked, you just went like, oh, yeah, yeah, that's fine. So it seems like that would be easily done.
The 6 foot setback.
6 or 7, or however much you can shrink the yard between your two duplexes to
6 foot,
accommodate
yeah.
to accommodate would be helpful in a revised set of plans.
Yeah, okay. Well, 6 foot sounds good to me.
has the city issued a variance yet?
It's not required technically if we approve it as allowable because of the evident setbacks within the development zone.
Okay.
John, you still have your hand up.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
But while I breathe, this is actually a lot better plan than the one from way before. You're doing a lot of things right. There's just some stuff that really needs to be tweaked, in my humble opinion. So, for instance, I had to print them so I could see them. I was looking at your floor plans and then trying to relate them to your elevations, and they don't line up. So if we can go back to the development package on page.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're just okay, so there was a revision. There was a floor plan revision, but it was just has to do with it doesn't have affect the footprint or the you're talking about in the back the rear unit.
Okay, if we go to that page and shrink it a little bit
Mhm.
so that we can see all of it.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so let's start from right to left, top to bottom, okay? So on that one, you're still showing a sliding window or a double casement on the second floor
Oh,
of
okay.
the balcony. And that needs to be fixed because sliders
Yeah.
are prohibited.
Right,
It
right.
could
That
be
was
two
that's an error. Yeah, that's an error.
and you're also showing on the first floor on your
Mhm.
plans that there is a window in your staircase at some unspecified height that's narrow right up against the wall, which is not in that elevation.
You get the floor plan.
Yeah.
It's impossible to see them side by side unless you print them out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's
And there's problems with every single one of them,
So,
except one. No, two of them are okay.
so it's this one here you're talking about.
Yeah, there's a little
okay.
window there.
That's 10. Okay.
And
And
the numbers on the plans do not align with the window schedules.
okay.
They're different. So for instance, while we're looking at this, on the kitchen, dining, living room floor plan of building B, you show a door and two windows, but your floor
Yeah, yeah,
plan,
yeah.
shows two windows in entirely different areas that align with the second story.
Okay, yes, yeah, that is there was a revision, like an indeterminate revision. Since these are like preliminary plans, yeah,
Okay.
it didn't, yeah.
So we've got to see a set that
Yeah.
match.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So on the second elevation at the top, the back actually has two windows on the first floor and two windows on the second floor, but the kitchen window is shorter than you got it shown drawn. And then on the elevation that shows the side elevation of building A, which is the next,
Mhm.
that one, there's no windows on any of those walls, and I understand because you've got beds up against them, and they'd have to be clear story, which we don't like. But
Right.
we don't usually approve blank walls
Okay.
anywhere, just as a
Oh,
comment. And
oh,
then
okay.
the next one over, it shows a double hung next to a fixed, but
Yeah.
we don't use. They either should be both double hung or both casement. And
Okay.
to Stan's comment,
Yeah.
I remember looking at this development zone. There are double hung, there are single panel or multi-paned, there are casements in the development zone. So, and there are examples of mixed. So you can use those different forms, but
Mhm.
if you've got a series of windows, both windows ought to match.
Okay.
So you might
Yeah,
want
that
to do
was
two
yeah.
casements there because one's over the tub and one
Yeah.
is openable. But that
Yeah.
would mean that the window next to it on the second floor, probably in the bedroom or the office, probably ought to have two casements too, so that you retain a rhythm
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
your plan.
Yeah. Okay.
And then next set of images down, you're not showing the parapets that would stick up. But the back is about right. It looks like the two windows. And then on the front, your renderings show the same size windows there in I think that's the bathrooms.
Hmm.
But they're different sizes on the plans. And
Okay.
so that needs to be adjusted. And
Yeah.
then in the bottom, see, they're the same there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about all this.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom set of drawings, again, sidewall, door and two windows, different locations. The other thing they don't show is I would really encourage you not to put integral drains inside rammed earth. You will
Hmm.
always have water problems. You would be better off doing scuppers and external downspouts
Mm.
for long-term viability of your building, but those should be shown.
I would agree with that, John.
So just a comment. And then on the site plan itself, a little over to the right, you've got several different locations for your trash, but I don't think you really want to have the trash cans right underneath your kitchen window that opens.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to look at that. The
Mm-hmm.
power pole you're showing on your plans is not actually where it is on the lot. And that's a weird one because that was a thing that's supposedly not our purview, but was brought up at the last time we looked at this whole project. There's a telephone pole, and
Yeah.
7 years ago it fed 3 houses. Now it looks like it's just feeding your house. And a new pole went up on the property to the south that is now feeding those other homes. But you do have a sewer right down the middle of the lot that feeds the property to the west that will have to
Uh-huh.
be addressed. And
Uh-huh. Yeah.
you legally have a 10-foot easement all the way along the south side. And that the building A conforms, but building B is 6 inches into it currently. And I hope that flies. I don't know. That's when you get to the inspectors. But little tweaks, and then you ought to show how the um, the cisterns catch
Mm-hmm.
into your runoff so that you can show what size drainage basins you actually need on site.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really glad Matt brought up the landscaping with you have to have bushes if you can't do trees and that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But it means since we're using that, we should see that on your plans.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that Steve helped me out here. The Historic Landscape Subcommittee was reviewing artificial turf
Mhm.
and found that it's not appropriate generally because it's toxic and it's just not a great thing. So you might
Okay.
look at other
Yeah.
treatments there.
Mhm.
Sure.
I'd be
Sure.
uncomfortable approving that. I'm okay with the parking the way it is, although the
Yeah.
access space probably ought to be concrete, has the path in to your front doors rather than asphalt that's marked.
Mm-hmm.
And the front fence, you've shown it at 5. Technically, it can be 6 feet in front if it's all
Mm-hmm.
open, which you may need
Mm-hmm.
for security at this property.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you might want to put any other fencing you might want to put up on a plan. We also don't have any light fixtures shown, and would need those.
Okay, the light fixtures would be in
If you
plan
have
or
any
in
exterior
elevation? Okay.
just what you can just show us a picture of the type you're doing to see if they're like historically compatible.
I
And you may
see.
only just have one on each porch and it's just like, a globe. I don't know.
Okay.
But we're not seeing any of that. Um, like Matt said, I'm okay with a 4-foot on the north because it's up against yards. And I'm okay with the setbacks if they meet the easement on the south. But I encourage you to move your building forward.
Mm-hmm.
On the question of rammed earth, I know that it was talked about when I was only a citizen advisor before. Actually, I don't mind it as a form for infill in Armory Park generally, if it's done properly and the rest of the building form is historically compatible. I have some reservations possibly on a vacant lot with it being a primary residence, but that would be specific to site. Stan talked about stuccoing it, and I really looked into that, and you have to wait 9 months. And then you have to use permeable plaster, and then you have to treat it all the different times. So I hope that you've got the steadies and the expertise to be able to do 2-story walls that just have a double brick cap parapet without a problem. They usually also have raised foundations so that there isn't splashback along the bottom. But as a building form, it doesn't actually bother me for new infill secondary units, accessory structures, and such. So I thought I'd comment on that. But given all that I've said personally, you're going really well in the right direction, but there's enough tweaks that I think we should continue it for you to address some things. But there's more people to speak. So that's me for now.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that there is an example of round earth in Armory Park. There's a wall that was built a couple of years ago on Arizona Avenue and
The
16th
memorial?
Street. No, it's not a
Oh, okay.
memorial.
There's
It's next to the house with
it's
the memorial.
Mm.
Yeah.
it's a regular wall, okay, and again, it's a one-story wall, okay, which is what I brought up originally. The question, do we have any example of multi-story round earth building? I cannot think of any. So if you could come up with, again, some reference material, I'm sure it would help.
Thank you, Maurice. Matt.
Just want to add something quick, especially with the rammed earth. If you haven't done a cost model on it, you might want to run the numbers and see how feasible it is, or else we might see you back changing materials. Also,
yeah.
the ram.
The owner's a mentee of oh my gosh, what's it, like the guru of rammed earth
Okay.
in
So
Tucson or in Arizona.
you
What's
all
his
know
name?
what you're getting into.
What's that?
You all know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Okay. But the other comment with it is if you do change materials, rammed earth, you have it at 2 foot thick walls, it's a bit more conventional. You'll be able to meet those setbacks and gain some property area without having to really shift things around. So just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it appears that we have asked the questions we want to ask, and I would like to entertain a motion at this time. Is there somebody who'd like to make a motion?
Let me ask a question first, Steve. Is
Yes, Stan.
everybody else on the advisory board agree that the use of rammed earth is a non-issue here and that we don't need to address that any further? Is there a general consensus on that?
No.
Okay, Lynn, what do you think?
I don't know enough about it. I would like to see Wally present some references and statistics about multiple story rammed earth projects, and also regarding hiding the drain spouts within the property, not in the commercial drain spouts that you were discussing, Wally, and not the exterior scuppers and that sort of thing. It's just not something that's in Armory Park at this time. I know it's maybe in Barrio Viejo, but not here. And I'm not sure we want to open that door without really researching it a little bit better.
Uh,
I'm not saying no.
Should I respond?
Simply
Should I
saying,
respond?
I don't know.
Or should I respond?
You're welcome to.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. Regarding the scuppers, I'm about 97% sure that a concealed downspout from a commercial style roof drain is feasible, and
Okay.
because the rammed earth it basically has properties of concrete, I would say. So I mean I really don't think there and of course having external scuppers and downspouts would just be well, that's not desirable at all. But as far as providing some references to two-story rammed earth structures. I mean, would you like me to do that right now, or as a follow up?
I think it's a follow-up.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's fairly common. Yeah.
So
Okay, it's just not something that's here.
I looked
in the
into it. I mean,
Ah,
there's actually about 35 of them on the National Register. The Hail Mary report was done in 1940 for the Works Progress Administration in South Dakota. And there are a lot of historical ones all over the West. It is true there are no rammed earth buildings in Armory Park currently. There are a lot in the barrio. There's some in Santa Rosa. There's some in Pie Allen. Um, I will generally say I'm more familiar with the ones that have large eaves to protect the walls here, with usually like a hip roof over it, and they have been shorter. I am not familiar with, I know it can go up to 36 feet. I'm not familiar with examples, though, of exposed rammed earth at 24 feet high with just a double brick cap and what it will do, because I know Armory Park can have a 3 to 4 inch rain event within an hour that could be damaging either if you plaster it or to the structure of the walls if it's not engineered properly. And I'm not the person to say, but it's a preference, and we should come up with a general understanding um, and a policy moving forward. Um, I'm in favor of allowing them in specific cases on unique sites, personally. But everybody should have an opinion, and we should reach a consensus.
So if I may jump in, traditionally we would be looking at the aesthetics. We sometimes allow a difference in material that has an aesthetic um, that is similar to or um, to other historically used materials within that development zone. So the question is, you had talked about rammed earth and its similarity to stucco, and saying that a rammed earth surface can have an aesthetic. It isn't exactly like stucco, but it could look like a smooth stucco. And so I think that one of the things is that I would really appreciate, and I think the board would appreciate, you have some images of rammed earth, and you're obviously doing the color of the earth itself is integral color, but that can be variable. And so for me, anything that is a two-story monolithic, I want it to not look like concrete. So that would be color and texture, because that falls into becomes brutalism, and that two-story poured concrete. The images that you show are helpful, but I think that we really need to get a good look at the color and the texture. And I think that that may help the board be more comfortable in this specific application. I know rammed earth is really important to your client, but I think that um, the images that you show are helpful, but I don't think that are you explaining that that's the color and those sorts of things? So I think it would be helpful if you said, here's a sample of the color and the form that we're looking at. And then we can help to understand if it's a similarity to a smoother stucco, maybe not a sand finish, but a smooth finish stucco. Does
okay.
that
We can rely on the owner to provide
provide?
that. Yeah.
That'd be perfect. Stan, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think the only the final comment I would make in terms of my reference to rammed earth is that we can say we approve this. What happens if we get 5 or 6 other people in the neighborhood say, God, I love that. I want to do that in the neighborhood too. I don't know that it would ever happen, but all of a sudden we got 10, 15 rammed earth structures in Armory Park. Is that something we want to see?
I think that if the aesthetics are done very carefully and we approve the aesthetics rather than the material, does that make sense, Dan?
It can. I
Mhm.
think. I mean, I'm saying we're setting a precedence here, and
We
and
are.
I want to make sure that we're looking at all the options and that we make a decision that we can stand behind when the next one comes up, or or a number of others come up. That's all I'm saying. I don't know that I particularly have a strong opinion against it, but it is something that's totally different from what we have in the neighborhood right now.
And it will be precedent setting.
Yes.
Maurice.
Well, I do agree with the point that Stan just raised. Okay, all of a sudden, we're introducing a new type of building in a neighborhood. Okay, which means, and he's right. Okay, it could be that a half a dozen people are going to look at the building and says, "Oh, it looks gorgeous. I want one too." So now all of a sudden, we're changing the nature of Armory Park. Okay, this is a big decision. And I mean, I understand your concern as far as the aesthetic, okay, and its resemblance to stucco, okay. Well, not all Armory Park is made out of stucco, okay, there's a number of different materials that are being used, and again, like I said, we're introducing a whole new cultural element, okay, into its historic neighborhood. So I think we really need to think about it.
Thank you, Maurice. Stan, you have your hand up again.
Yeah, one other thought after I got done saying it is that I think that one of the things we could look at in terms of if we decide to approve it is that this is a background building in the sense that it's on one of the secondary streets in the neighborhood. So we can say, okay, we agreed to do this in a secondary or in a minor location along an alley or a minor street, and we'd prefer maybe not to have it on one of the major streets, like on Fourth Avenue or Fifth or Sixth Avenue, where it's especially maybe on a prominent corner. It may be a way for us to address is, okay, we're willing to use it, but it's not something that we want to see on a regular basis from now on out. I don't know, just an idea.
I think we can do that. Martha, you have your hand up.
We also have a straw bale house in our neighborhood, and there's only like one of them. I don't think that
But that's stuccoed, isn't it?
it is stuccoed. It's the presentation.
That hides
The
it.
material is something that wasn't there before. So I think Steve's concern about the look and how it appears is a valid concern, but should not totally knock out a different substance for building here. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like, Wally, are you okay if we continue it so that you can refine your proposal?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Then I'd like to make a motion that in the matter of SD dash 1225 dash 0019 dash TC dash RES dash 1025 dash 04977, the board makes a recommendation to continue the case for a number of changes to development proposal, including increasing the western setback and other specifics and details has discussed during the meeting.
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'll call the vote. Maurice Roberts.
Aye.
Stan Schumann.
Aye.
Matt Smith.
Aye.
Lynn Sutherland.
Aye.
Martha McClements.
Aye.
John Burr.
Aye.
Steve Grady, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Wally, thank you so much for your thoughtful presentation, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thank you. And am I performing revisions based on your comments at this time, or?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
So your floor plans need to match up. Your floor plans
Yeah.
and elevations need to match up. Revise your setbacks, adjust the site plan, try to address the landscaping, adjust fencing that you might do, and any other details, and yada yada. And then come back. If you theoretically, you could come back for a courtesy review for revisions, because the next time it's make or break. We either say yes or no with conditions.
And
I think, Paul,
if you could,
one other thing,
if you could,
John, that I would add is that if you could get some type of reference or either details from a structural engineer
Yeah.
that's looking at this and telling us that this is structurally sound for a two-story building, and this is what we're doing in order to make that accommodation, that would be helpful for us as well.
Okay.
Also, why or why not you should stucco it or leave it as an exposed rammed earth building.
Okay.
And the colors.
Okay.
And so color would be something we would review in that case, color and texture.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I would like to add also on the fencing, I don't know if there was a detail as to whether it was painted or rust in place, but traditionally we'd ask for that detail as well.
But the painted is preferable, I think, right?
Yes, it depends, but
Yeah.
but we would need to take, if you paint it, we would need to have a paint color selected as well.
My sense on this, if you're leaving exposed rammed earth, I think the rusted steel would be a more appropriate color.
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
And then just listed on the plan.
Okay.
And
All right.
you probably want to show us how you're planning on fencing in the parapet roof.
Okay. All right. All right. So this is a lot of documentation, but okay.
This whole
Thank
video
you.
will be up for you to view and listen to and take notes.
Okay. I recall everything, so but thank you. Thank you for your comments, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Wally.
Bye now.
So I'd like to move on to item B, TPPRE -0126 -00026, 720 South Third Avenue. And Michael has, if you wanted to introduce the project.
Yeah, this for courtesy review, Mr. Chair, members of the board, we are not yet doing staff summary, but as you all know, they are coming to you. Just this is an informational presentation for feedback, just to get your idea on the concept that they have, so they can go back and refine their plans and come back to you formally. Miles has been before you before this committee, so he is quite aware of the minor review process. So basically today you have no action to take. You just have to review what he's presenting to you, give feedbacks like you are giving to Wally right now, and then based on those feedbacks, he's going to refine the plans and come back for a formal review. That's all I can say for right now.
Great, thank you.
Miles, just give me a minute so I can make you the co-host.
Sure. And Stephen, I'm not sure you were
muted,
there.
Steve.
I appreciate that. I was just asking that perhaps he might be co-host to present.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. It should be good to go by.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is everybody able to see my screen and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is a proposal for a 801 square foot ADU at 720 South Third Avenue. So moving to the west, just across the street, kind of on the other alley here off of Railroad to the back. This is a project that has been before you, or a previous iteration of this was before you. We'll look at that, but this is a bit of a departure. Also very fortunate to have Sophia, the owner, on with us. They are a great client and take a lot of pride in the neighborhood and have been taking a lot of pride in the restoration of the main home. So very excited to be working with them. So within the development zone, you kind of see where we are in the southeast portion of the neighborhood. There's a lot of contributing properties along the street here. So here is 720 with access off of Railroad. You can see a little bit old in terms of the status of the property. There has been a lot of work that is happening, but here is kind of the latest from Pima County. And then have also spent some time diving into those existing homes within the development zone. And so, yeah, last time I was with you was looking at the garage for Jake here on the corner at 702. The character of the street here is largely gable, hip, mixed roofs, Queen Anne style with the occasional kind of flat roof structures here. The grocery on the corner, which was originally a design inspiration, but that has since shifted. And some of the other contributing properties here. The house itself is a 1907 Queen Anne cottage. It's a one-story, but it's a fairly tall one-story building here. Masonry with a asphalt shingle roof. And these are the photographs of the existing home. These are also from one of the previous permits on the property in the last year. So some things have changed a little bit, but those were all items that were reviewed here. So here's the front and the side of the home. Here are just some pictures of, this is the existing site where the proposed location for the ADU is. And here are just some of the adjacent structures on the alley. The elevations for reference. This is in another permit that work was approved and is occurring now for the renovation of this back area. And starting to look at the design again, looking at the height, I think the height and the type of structure, the roof form was a really large component of the previous reviews comments. And so the starting point for this proposal was looking at the gable here on the north side of the home. And so the roof form is matching the pitch of this roof. And we're trying to keep it around the ridge height here of the 18'6", but the maximum height of the house is 22'9" in an existing home. So this was the previous design that was presented in July of 2025. And for multiple reasons, there was concerns with this. Looking at the meeting notes from that meeting, the secondary structure shouldn't be taller than the height than the main structure, which that was not an issue before. But I think considering just the flat roof versus, the gable roof structure, there was a stature sort of difference that was occurring. And there was some discussion about measuring roof heights. There was some discussion about using a standing seam metal roof on the porch. And that's going to be a main issue that I'd like to kind of look at with everybody here today, because we still are proposing a standing seam roof for several reasons. The accent color was different from the main house. That's something that has been resolved, and we have a new accent color that we're proposing for both the existing home and the ADU. And then there were some comments here to simplify the ADU so that is more subordinate and designed to the main house while borrowing some features from the main Queen Anne home, such as the porch shingles, French door, metal roof, an arch door. And so I think some of those were maybe negatives, but I feel like we're largely achieving that. There were also issues with the French door in the original design, and we currently have no French doors proposed in this design. In terms of, there was some back and forth at that last meeting on the height. So this is from the UBC design standards 5.8.9. There's other ways of measuring, but they're largely not relevant because really the main target here is to, have alterations or additions be no higher than the tallest comparable feature of the existing structure, which we are in compliance with. There was also some discussion on the height of the casitas. So originally Guidance from the city of Tucson in 2022 was 12 feet or the same height as the primary structure, whichever is greater. And then that was also revised to be simplified in 2024 to be the max height of a single family dwelling within the same zone, which is generally 25 feet. But again, we are keeping the addition, the ADU, detached ADUs shorter than the main house. Also just wanted to highlight, some of the guidelines that are here in terms of keeping additions simple and appropriate in size, shape, material, color, and detail. I believe that we're meeting all of those requirements. And there are some slight departures, but new construction does not need to copy the existing structure and should be compatible with surrounding historic buildings and streetscapes. So we've paid very close attention to make sure that we feel that we're meeting those requirements there in terms of fitting in with the surrounding neighborhood, keeping the changes from the street side visible to a minimum, and then keeping all of the materials appropriate to the building and to the neighborhood. This is the official form, but that's kind of a largely a just kind of reiterating. Also went around the neighborhood and just looked at for this roof form, trying to find some precedent. So this is a mix of contributing and non-contributing structures. Largely, this building is newer. The rest are contributing. So instances of these like simple, sorry, this at 815th is a new project as well, which is non-contributing. But looking at gable forms, oftentimes these are a little taller, which tends to work pretty well in this climate. But also within a lot of these contributing structures, these simple gable forms do show up. There also are examples of these standing seam metal roofs within the development zone or just adjacent to the development zone. This project here is at the north end of the neighborhood, but this contributing structure and porch are very similar to what we're proposing and uses that standing seam metal roof there. Looking at the site, so we have South 3rd on the east side of the site, the main house here. There is a little bit of a dogleg in the property line. So we are maintaining a 9-foot setback from the south side and a 6-foot setback on the west side. All of the fence and gate are existing here. No issues in terms of lot coverage, including the parking area off of South Railroad and any porches and coverings and things like that. We're at a 36% lot coverage. We're allowed 70. In terms of utilities, we are planning at the moment to tap off of the power pole in the alley here to have a separate meter. You'll see more elevations with utilities, but basically the main strategy is to try to kind of conceal and hide all of the utilities. And so condensers, water heater, the electrical connection, venting for dryer, everything is geared towards this south facade here by the fence that's existing. And because the kind of overall massing and the shape and the size of like that previous structure was a concern, the starting point for this design was looking at just what the overall sort of massing felt like. So spent some time out on the site doing some sketching with, just really taking a stock of like the surrounding buildings and trees and landscape and things like that. And the scale felt, was starting to feel very comfortable in terms of tucking into and nestling into the neighborhood here. To give you a little bit of a sense just from an aerial perspective of what that would start to look like and how that would feel and the separation from the main home. I have a rendering here that shows the proposed ADU and the main home. And then also took time to do some other elevations to show that relationship to the existing home and especially the alley. So here, starting on the south side, that dashed line is where the existing fence currently lies. And so you can see kind of concealed are these utilities. The shower window is something that I would like to discuss in a little bit more detail later, but that's a concealed element behind that fence. And that's an adjacent property. So that fence will be there, but even if it did go away at some point, that's not really visible definitely not visible from the street and not visible from the alley. Also on the south side, I am showing picture windows that are rectangular in shape here. Some of that is, drawing from the ADU that was built just to the north. But that window type felt very appropriate on that south side because we needed to get some light into that space. And these could also be tucked up high enough on that eave so that eave is protecting from direct solar gain in the summer, but allowing that solar gain to occur in the winter. So those have been sized and located to work with sustainable design practices. But again, the window in the shower is a little bit up in the air. I mean, we were also planning a casement window here that matches the proportion of those rectangular windows since it is in the shower. From the north property elevation, you can get a sense of the scale of the ADU with the existing home. From the street side, you can get a sense of that additional height, or the height of the proposed structure in relation to the main home. And it tucks away pretty nicely behind that main house. And then, I would almost consider this as more of the street view of the house from the alley, just because this is where it is interfacing with the additional structures, and it's closer to the alley. So I drew the ADU that was just finished to the north, and then this is then a contributing existing structure here. So overall, you can see the height is kind of characteristic, and the setback is characteristic with what is existing. From the street, because I know last time that was a major concern, because it is so far set back, you really get very minimal sight lines of the ADU from 3rd Avenue. And so these are accurate from our model. Just the context has been added in. But if you're in front of the house, you're really not going to see the ADU in the back. If you move to the south a little bit, this is about as much of the ADU that you would see. And if you move to the north a little bit, you would see that back there. But I think you'd be almost even hard pressed by the time, landscaping and things like that starts to come in. From the alley, you can see the height of the existing fence and get a sense of the proportions. It is a little bit taller. I think one of the things with this ADU is that we are still, I'm using a code path to have a mezzanine within the structure. And so that's to capture a little bit of additional square footage. So we have vaulted ceilings inside of that space and a office space that's up on the mezzanine. Now the mezzanine does not count as a level with this code path. It's a 1-story building because it's under 200 square feet. And there's not a restroom or something like that up there. So it's kind of bonus square footage. We can make use of that vaulted space. And it also allows us to use a non-traditional stair. So we don't have to meet the stair code, but we have to meet code for kind of like a ship's ladder or something like that. So all those have been met. But you can see kind of the proportions are still, within the characteristic of the neighborhood with this structure and some of those other ones from the precedent. So leaving the main house, this is the view out to the ADU. So very simple gable form, uses like the columns here kind of set up a grid that all of the windows are centered within. So the 2 gable ends have a set of 3 windows and then 1 high window for the mezzanine and to allow some light in. Right now, the plan is we do have fascia boards on the upper portion of the roof with an overhang that projects similar to other structures. It's a smooth white stucco and Ardex product, and then a transition. And so the height of this line here is meant to kind of mimic the base that a lot of the other buildings have and mimic the base that the existing home does have. So different materials for that, but still kind of using that line to add some interest to the facade, to break it up a little bit and to sort of reference the surrounding architecture. It would be a transition to another type of stucco here. And then I am just not a fan of like the stucco that is sitting out proud of the foundation. So the detail here would be to have a flush alignment of the exposed concrete slab with the face of the stucco wall. So careful attention paid there. The porch has a shallower pitch, which is common to help with clearance. That kind of wraps around. The porch does have an exposed rafter tail detail here, which is common for the neighborhood. And then wood columns for this porch. The windows they're 62 by 34. We've been going back and forth on what to do for the windows. I know Sophia is having several of the windows in the main house completely handmade. So we are looking at that as an option of using that same carpenter to custom fabricate windows. But otherwise, right now, the sizing and everything is based off of the Marvin Ultimate Doug fir windows, which is the same product that was used in the main house for this current set of renovations. So those are Doug fir with a linseed oil finish. The wood fascia boards and the porch structure would be painted. The color that we're proposing for that is an aptly named Tucson teal. And that's the color that the owner would also like to use on the main house. Here's just another view of from the backyard in the corner, looking at the proposed ADU and the main home. So you can kind of see that it's a brick base along the main house here. We had started to pursue that, but it just, the brick for this was very expensive. And the aesthetics of this were working really well. I think the other thing was, yeah, I mean, if we are going with a standing seam roof, we would like to use the light gray. There's also kind of like a cool roof requirement here in the inner city, so that meets that. And part of the reason we'd also like to do this, I mean, we find it more attractive than the asphalt. It's a more durable product. It also would be a little bit easier in terms of handling our detailing at the roof, largely because we have this vaulted ceiling here, and there's two ways you can do the vaulted ceiling. You could spray it with a foam insulation, but so Sophia is very conscientious in wanting to do the most kind of ethical approach here, and so we are sticking with a mineral wool. We're going above code for the R values within this roof assembly, and then having a vented portion on the top of that. So that's a small vented area that makes the vaulted sort of area work well, and you don't have to deal with any sort of future issues there, because if any water does make its way in, there's a place for it to dry out before it soaks into the main assembly of the roof. You cannot see these windows on the west side with the fence very well, but these are a little bit smaller windows, so it's pretty much the same window type along the north and the east side of the house. These are double hung, and they do meet egress requirements as well, secondary egress. The smaller ones are on this side, largely are because we have this is the sleeping area, the bedroom area. So that would allow us to have more furniture or a bed against this wall here. Elevations, you can kind of get a sense of the rhythm and the scale of the structure, some more detail of mechanical, electrical systems that are proposed. Some materials. So here you can see that color, the Tucson teal matched with, the smooth white stucco. This is the base and the product that you see this often with the concrete stem wall. So it's a little bit of a challenge getting this sorted out. But this Benton mineral concrete effect stucco on the lower base is kind of the running option here. Profile for the standing seam metal roof, which is similar to the profiles that are existing in the neighborhood. With an example of that product, and then solid wood door, and then the wood windows that we're proposing. So in terms of window types, it's the double hung. It's the same type along this side and the north side. A little bit smaller picture window above that space, and then these rectangular windows. So these are planned to be picture windows, and then this is kind of the question mark of what we can do here. We have engaged a structural engineer on this. I mean, we are technically in SD. The city got back to us today and said it looks like it's ready to go in for permit. But yeah, we aren't taking action, and we are still kind of going to be adjusting things, but this might shift down or get a little bit smaller. We do have a large ridge beam that will be here that has to sort of transfer around that window. So that's something that might change very slightly as we move forward. Here's like a rendition of that Tucson teal color on the existing home as well. So you can kind of get a sense of what that looks like with the white brick that's there. And then looking at the floor plans of the home. So again, very simple form. You enter just off center. It's kind of a core design with for the restroom, closet, the ship's ladder that goes above the closet space. Simple L kitchen, dining room, bedroom, and then, or sorry, living room, and then the bedroom is on the west side here. When you go up the ship's ladder, you can kind of see perched above is the mezzanine. It doesn't run full width. So one of the design features of this is to have these kind of exposed, the exposed joists that are running across here.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that, I mean, I have a vision of like having some fun plants that could be up here and sort of hanging. But so here from, you know, the main entry comes in here. You land on a place to put your shoes and coats, things like that. Kitchen is tucked under that mezzanine level. And it's a little tight up there, but it's going to be cozy. But you have a mezzanine, and from that mezzanine, you can get a sense of scale here. And then this is the bedroom area. So you go around the corner and there's that ship's ladder up that way. So yeah, that's largely my presentation here. I think, you know, I know this is our courtesy review. We're very ready to get moving and are hoping to be with you here next month for the for action. So I want to make sure, you know, the stylistic approach is feeling right. You know, we are. I really would like to keep the structure here at this 18'6" to sort of match this. And I mean, we're trying initially to match the proportions of this completely, but it just, with the constraints, it was challenging. So that is kind of the target, but you know, knowing that we also would like to keep the mezzanine sort of usable. If you kind of look at the section here, you know, this is the height of 6 foot. So you would, in this zone, you know, most people would not bump their head. In this zone, this is 6'8", so that's code. And then 7 foot is sort of the ideal. So tight space, but again, for a mezzanine is appropriate. But I think trying to manage the vented layers and do all that, we might need just a little bit of space to work there. So building height, the windows, especially the rectangular ones, I know that's a sensitive subject. The window type in the shower, the stucco kind of decisions that were made, the accent color, and then the roof material. And then I see, yeah, Lynn, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the way that you listened to what we had to say last time, because it seems like you heard us very well and addressed all of our issues. And I'm a block away, so yay, I like it. But I don't know anything about structure or building materials or anything like that, so I can't speak to that. But it looks
Well,
pretty.
thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was the goal. Yes, Maurice.
Okay, so like Lynn said, I really, really appreciate the change in the design. Okay, it looks much better than the idea that you had the last time. So I think, you know, you're moving ahead here. This is very good. Now, I have a couple of questions here. What is the height? Is that 18.6 or 22.9?
It's 18.6 right now. So as we work with structural, I could bump up just a couple inches. But the ultimate goal is to keep it, you know, under the main ridge of the house, which is 22.9.
Okay, so that is good. So I do have a couple of issues with the mezzanine level. The mezzanine level windows. Okay, the one on the east side and the west side is a clear window, and both are visible. Okay, the one on the east side less than the one on the Railroad Avenue side. Nevertheless, you're using a clear window, whereas it would be uh, probably more logical to find the same kind of dormer window like you have in the main house, which is basically, slats of wood, okay, just to match the existing, the existing style, okay, and that is valid for both, like I said, the east side and the west side, since they're both visible. Again, the one on the east side less visible than the one on the west side. So that's one issue. The other issue I have is the what you call, the windows on the that faces the neighbor, which is on the south side. Okay, it's those are basically clerestory windows. Now, I don't know that I haven't seen any clerestory windows in Armory Park, so we kind of not really, within the spirit of the neighborhood here. Now, if you were to go from 18.6 to 22.8 or something like this, you may have enough space to put some, double hang windows, which would make them look more like regular windows rather than, like I said, those clerestory windows. So, that would be, my recommendation. Okay. As far as the shower window, well, it's not really going to be visible. It's behind the wall, so I don't think it's really that important. Whatever works for you. I don't see an issue with that.
Okay. I think that all makes sense. I think we were, in terms of these upper windows, we were kind of leaning on, precedents like this. I do know that, a lot of these homes have some additional detailing or change of materials for the gable peaks. That was something that Sophia was not a fan of aesthetically, and so
Sorry.
that was and me as well. And so there was these other, kind of precedents within the neighborhood that don't have that change of material. So that was kind of the direction there. The clear stories, I think, yeah, I realized that was going to be, a challenge here. Um, I'm hesitant to change the window type just because if we go to a different type of window, it's going to allow more sun in on that southern exposure. And so I think at that point it's just kind of what is more important is the sustainability and the cooling load of the house more important, or is the aesthetic more important? Because I think right now the priority has been, on this southern side, we're going to be getting a lot of sun, and it's not super visible from anywhere other than this one angle on the alley. I'm curious how. I am honestly just curious. I would not have expected this to have passed. And so it's using a similar rhythm and kind of location for the windows that are facing out to the alley, and does not have a fence in front of it or anything. So does it feel like it's not within the character of this ADU that was approved to the north?
So, John, do you want to speak?
I want to stress that, I really appreciate the effort that you made, to change totally, the shape of the building. I think this is very good. This is very progressive, and you're going the right way. Again, like I said, those windows, in my humble opinion, are, of concern at this point.
John,
Okay, understood.
John, did you have clarification about that
Yeah.
structure?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do. It was approved as an ADU to replace an historic structure that was taken out without review by a building inspector because, because it was. We made a special exception for those windows at that particular site because when we reviewed it, there was supposed to be a 6-foot fence in front of it. The 6-foot fence was later taken away. I drove by there today, and you do see them as clerestory windows theoretically as a precedent, although they were approved as specific to that particular site and location. That said, generally, clerestory windows have been banned in Armory Park generally, and awning windows have been banned in Armory Park generally. However, you're in a block that clearly shows them, and on this, I like the mezzanine. I'm really glad that you did a one-story building. The fixed windows in the eaves, because it mirrors the form of what is often a vented attic vent, doesn't bother me on a new building. The clerestories are okay there. If you do an opening window in your shower, I would recommend a square form or a little bit more vertical and an opening casement that's a vertical casement, not a horizontal one. As an adjustment, still fitting within those forms. It's over a tub shower, so you can play with that. The other thing is, I really appreciate that the old metal fence that shows up on Google Views that was industrial grade metal fencing has been replaced since with corrugated, which is appropriate. I did not have a tape measure, but I think I'm not sure of the height of that fence, but your drawing should show it has 6 feet. Is all I'm going to say about that. It is existing.
Understood.
So John, I apologize because I wanted clarification about the clear story, but Stan had been in front of you, so I wanted that hand up first. No, it's Stan. Are you comfortable if John continues?
No, John, go ahead.
Okay,
Please,
John, please continue.
I can't tell how deep your porch is. It looks like it's about 4 feet, and I guess that's for your parking. But quite frankly, besides the shower window, I don't have a problem with this project at all. I think you did a great job and you listened to everybody.
Right. Thank you very much.
Stan, please.
First of all, I'd really like to compliment you on your presentation. It's extremely well done, well presented, and the perspectives are incredible. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
The one thing that I wasn't sure of, because I didn't see any indication on it, and I thought to begin with this was a final presentation because I had a lot of questions on additional backup information on, like, the window sizes and the locations and the windows on the existing home. But since this is for comments only, that's a non-issue. But the one question I did have a couple things I had questions on was where's the parking on this lot?
Sure. So this here is an existing gate.
I understand that, but you don't indicate any parking in the interior of the lot that I'm aware of.
So let's see here. Let me find my site plan. Yeah, so we do have a dedicated vehicular use zone of 760 square feet here.
Well, I guess I mean I saw that, but I wasn't sure how you were actually parking in there. Is that you're allowing? So you should really have what, maybe 4 spaces, maybe 2, maybe only 2. I guess.
I think technically we meet all the parking requirements with the street parking that is available. So this is kind of an extra. There's going to be 2 people that are living on this property with 2 vehicles, so that both vehicles would fit within the.
I guess the street parking is obvious. I mean, I understand that. I guess what I would like to see, because it's all the way through lot going all the way to the alley, it's nice to have some parking off-site or on-site, so that we don't use, because I tell you what, I think the on-street parking is really getting to be a problem in Armory Park. Now, obviously, you got enough space on there. Is that their intent, to use this off-street parking more than on-street parking? Or are they intending to use on-street parking more?
Sophia would be able to better.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I bought this property almost 2 years ago, and I've spent the last year working on renovating the main house very extensively. Um, and so I'm going to live in the main house, and my partner of many years will be living in the second house. And our plan is for that rolling door, which that space can easily accommodate two cars. But our plan is for the rolling gate to be opening and that will lead right into a parking spot. And then for me, where I enter from the main street, there's ample street parking. I'm on the street, I mean, at all hours of the day, most days of the week. And I imagine that parking is an issue on many blocks, but right now on Third between 17th and 18th, it's still quite flexible. Even with a lot of construction happening on that block, it's never even come close to being full. So between the two of us, there will be one parking spot with flexibility for two if we're traveling or something like that to fit two vehicles in the back in that area that Miles indicated, and also street parking in the front for at least there's often space for more than two vehicles out there.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to hear you're using off-street parking as much as you can because I don't know. I had a bit of an issue when we went with the All Saints project, and I actually made a daily tour around uh, the All Saints project to find out how many actual on-street parking is available. And that project would have had a problem because they required 20 on-street parking, and they would have never, they only made it about 50% of the time. So I'm seeing a lot of on-street parking happening as the Armory Park continues to develop. But having said that, I'm satisfied with what's going on here. Okay.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you. I
uh,
had it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Stan.
Mr.
on the
Chair,
windows, what's the exterior finish? Is that a paint finish?
So yes, it's a paint over the Ardex smooth stucco.
Okay. No, the paint on the windows, the wood windows.
Oh, that's a clear
So
finish.
yeah, it's a clear finish, and I worked with a master carpenter to exactly replicate the windows from 1907 on the main house to the exact joinery style that they used in 1907. And so my hope is to be able to afford the same windows in the back house, which are finished with oil and they're clear and you can see the grain of the wood
Okay.
and
So your
weathering.
windows on the existing house are going to be a clear finish also.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Um, on your metal roofing, uh, the shingles that you have on the existing house are really quite nice. Why not match the existing house and kind of tie those two projects together?
I think just from our perspective, it's a nicer finish, higher quality finish to have the metal roof. It's also a more durable surface.
Oh,
Um,
I agree. It's more durable. There's no question about that. I just think it ties the projects together a little bit better, I think. But I don't know that we're going to have a problem with the metal roofing. I was just wanted to bring that question up. On the wainscot that you have on the new edition, which has got the Belton mineral concrete, I'm assuming that what you're saying there, that's a hard, smooth, steel finished surface to make it look
correct.
like concrete.
Hmm.
All right. I guess that's something that you don't see that type of a finish on any projects around the neighborhood. I understand kind of the comment that you're trying to tie it to the rock foundation on the old house, but I guess I would have a bit of an objection to the hard, smooth, steel finished surface on that. I mean, it's going to be flush with the stucco. I understand you don't like to extend that out, but I mean, I mean, I'm assuming you probably have some type of a control joint between the two stuccos, right?
So that was we looked at several different options. It's still up in the air, of course, but the current plan right now was to not actually have a reveal or any sort of transition. That it was truly just the change of color.
But
Um,
you're changing material usage.
yeah, it's two different types of stucco.
So you got to have an edge bead of some type or an expansion joint between the two of them, I would think, in order to
It's
make a
gonna
clean
depend on the
line.
kind of stucco that we can find. If the cement base below if it can be handled with a paint line, then we have like a concrete sealer that's used on that bottom portion. But then otherwise, yes, it would need a bead there to transition between those two materials.
I think that if you're going to do that, I think I'd like to make sure that that's clear that you've got some type of transition there because unless you put a steel edge of some type there, you're not going to have such a solid straight line that you're showing on the drawings.
Sure. Yeah, that was an example that was done by Studio Caban. That's in my neighborhood in Barrio Santa Rosa, where it was just a paint line that is that transition. But it's a little bit of a different condition because they actually have a concrete stem wall that they've plastered over with a cement plaster. It's a different product.
Okay. All right, on the drawings, you call out that the existing wall in the front, which is an exposed CMU wall, is existing, but you don't say anything about it. Now, that wall is like 4 feet high. I'm a little surprised that that was approved. How did that was that an approved front wall?
Yes, that front wall was approved. Originally, it was actually, we asked for it to be 6 feet and we were approved at 4 feet. And it's going to be, when funds are secured, going to also be stuccoed to match the existing house color.
I figured it would be stucco, but I've never.
Yeah.
John, can you help me on this? Because I saw that and I thought, well, that's a violation of the code. How did we get that? Anybody?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the code allows for 4 foot in front of the house.
Well, I've never, at the time I've been on the board, that was one thing that we always rejected.
No, the code specifically allows for 4 foot in front of the house.
I've never heard that before. John, is that true? John, are you there?
I think we may have lost John for a moment.
Steve, are you familiar with that? I mean, that's a surprise to me.
We have usually discouraged it because of the visual opacity of it. But I am not surprised. I think vaguely remember, but it's usually been discouraged.
Sorry about that.
But this, you're telling us that it wasn't approved. It was approved at on a submittal because I
It,
don't remember this.
it was
being
approved as a
submitted.
4 foot solid wall on
And
the plan, and
it's allowed by code.
yeah, it's allowed by code.
Technical standard manual 9-02 allows 4 foot in the front.
It goes back to Secretary of Interior standards that they can't be taller than 4 feet in front, and so it has to be open above 4 feet. But yeah, you can have a front wall that's 4 feet, and it was
Thank you.
approved, and I think it will be stucco as funds allow. They're in construction.
Well, everything that shows on the guidelines shows a wall, any solid wall is only like a foot, 6 inches. I've never seen anything else that's been higher than that in the
Mr.
neighborhood.
Vice Chair, I want to say very strongly, 4 feet is allowed in the front. Even if people do retaining walls 2 feet and all that, it doesn't mean that 4 feet is not allowed.
All
4 feet
right,
is
okay,
allowed
fine.
in the front and
I'll
6 feet is
accept
allowed
that,
on
but
the
I
side.
seem to remember where we've had other presentations before us where they had a solid wall in front of us, in front of on the front yard, and it was rejected.
Mhm. So, thank you. John, you still have your hand up. Oh, Stan, were you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished, yeah.
Okay,
Real
John.
quick, I just had a question for Stan.
Mhm.
Because I know you were kind of withholding some comments on window proportions or sizes. The matching the windows of the existing home just did not make sense with the scale. I mean, there's very large windows on the main house, but the overall proportion was meant to be similar, and the window size is also very generous considering the scale of the building here. Um, And so I just wanted to see, looking forward, if you had any issues with this size of window or proportion or matching. They are a little bit bigger windows than what was used on the current work that's happening here, but a little bit of a different condition with kind of the tighter elevation with just
No,
the lower
I've
roof.
got no problems with the windows at all. They actually look good. In fact, the comment that Maurice had with the clear stories windows, I don't know, something that you might be able to do, and it's not just a suggestion. I don't know if it would help or not, but a lot of the clear stories would windows that are up there right now, or openings that are up there on existing homes, are vents to the attic,
Mhm.
and they have like a jealousy type horizontal wood frame that goes across that allow air to move behind it with a screen behind the wood jealousy kind of horizontal orientation, and you could have a window behind that, and it would simply take that clear story window away from and still allow light into the area
Sure.
as an option. I mean, I'm not saying that that's something you should do, but if there's objections to the clear story window, that might be one way to handle it.
Yeah, I think we had started going down that road actually a little bit, taking some inspiration from the Rob Paulus homes on 18th there, where they do the much larger opening window with the slat sort of across it. But I think we ended up, well, it was intentional that the proportions and kind of location sort of matched with the vents, but I think for the smaller opening, that would maybe propose a challenge. But I do appreciate that sentiment and understand.
Okay. John, you still have your hand up.
Yeah, I've got a couple comments. Um, for Rob Paulus's house, just so you know, they were built not in accordance with zoning approval. So as built is very different than the approved plan.
Okay.
So don't use that as a reference. Although we generally like them and they're good neighbors, and we're not supposed to comment on other projects. But I would say the ADU ordinance says you should have a dedicated space. So dedicate a space on your site plan for this ADU, whether you use street parking or not in functionality is immaterial. Just designate one and straighten up your fence line to meet your property line. It appears that it is a straight line now. And you may want to like add a little bit of landscaping, since this is going to go through a number of different levels. And other questions, if are you gonna do rainwater harvesting and so on and so forth, and any of that. So that should probably be in a package that's a formal review, including the measurements on everything.
Understood. So I'm curious. There's been a couple of comments on parking, but as far as I'm aware, the two spots that are provided off-site here are adequate. So is there any additional recommendations from that?
I would just put in a line on it that says dedicated off-street parking for ADU unit.
Gotcha. Okay. And then yeah, straightening out the fence. I mean, I think that's clear. This was kind of from measurements, but I'll revisit that. And then what was your last comment? Oh, landscaping. I don't believe there's a landscaping review required for this scale of project, correct?
I don't think so. I can't remember if they're now interpreting it that you're supposed to plant a tree with an ADU. I know you are if it's a duplex.
Okay, I'll look into that a
I
little
can't
bit more.
keep up. And I mean, there's a new bill in the House tomorrow that they're voting on at 8 a.m. that could like change all of this again. So, it's kind of tweakish, but
Yeah.
But if you could modify the
Chair.
shower window a little bit, it would probably be an easier sell with the allowance for this again in a motion that it would be on this specific site in this specific location with this design. It's appropriate rather than language that says, "Hey, you can do it now anywhere." For clear stories.
Sure. No,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, for this type of occasion, For this type of project, landscaping is really not a requirement.
Okay.
If they choose to provide landscaping, fair and nice, which I think they have some already, but the code says landscaping is reviewed as part of bigger projects. I consider this as a small project.
Oh, one other little correction.
Mhm.
On the meeting minutes from last summer, we corrected those minutes. So height in H is for principal building is total height. It's not mid ridge height on a gable. We have used that for accessory structures in the past, in certain instances on a case by case basis, but height in H is defined as total height, period.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I think with on 6.4.4, no, sorry. Yeah, on 6.4.4 for section B, the HPZ has a overrides this A. But I think either way, it's not an issue on this project. But I appreciate that.
Sure.
Excellent. Have we had an opportunity to provide sufficient feedback? Martha.
Just a quick comment, and I it's not an alley, it's a minor avenue. I would be haunted from a ghost from the recent past if I let that one go. Railroad is considered a small avenue, a minor avenue, and not an alley. But I'm liking the project, and I'm glad I missed the first part of it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my apologies to Railroad Avenue.
Yeah.
So then I guess just for clarity, it seems like overall direction is looking good. Windows are looking good. We can make some adjustments to the shower windows, to the shower window. The roof material sounds like we can propose this, and that would be an easy amendment if it was turned down. Some clarity on the detail, just with what's happening at the stucco transition. And then so really, I think the big picture or biggest issue at the moment is whether or not these windows are going to be allowed. And it sounds like consensus is mixed, but maybe favorable. So that would be contingent. I think if these were voted down, the contingency there would be just to eliminate windows, which would kind of be a shame. But
You've got a precedent, whether it was intended or not, on the minor avenue.
Yes.
For a new dwelling unit, and has a new dwelling unit, it can have a slightly different type of roof type.
But at the same token, you don't have the history of an existing 6 feet tall fence that suddenly came down. So just keep it in mind. And
Yeah.
Stan was very very helpful in mentioning those window coverings. Okay, which would resolve your issue with the heat coming from the south side. Should you decide to get maybe some more traditional windows on the south side.
Thank you. Lynn, were you going to say something?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm hoping we can move on so we can maybe finish before 9 o'clock. Thank you both so much for coming in and for the excellent presentation.
Yes, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it was a nice presentation.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, may I suggest that in the future, if a project is not before you for review, please let us not discuss that project which is not on the agenda. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is item 5, which is minor reviews.
Yes, there were two submittals on minor reviews since our last meeting. Both of them were at 350 East 15th Street. And one was for replacement of existing solar panels, which actually helped the overall appearance of the roof a lot more because the previous panels were actually overlapping on the roof edges and the ridge lines and was not particularly pleasing visually. The new panels are smaller and they take up less space and they work within the roof plane itself. So that was approved. The second submittal on that project was going with metal shingles, which we talked about in, I don't know if that was a month ago or 2 months ago or not, but or maybe 3 months ago, but
That was in December.
they were presented and basically essentially approved because he wanted to go with a combination of the metal shingles, individual shingles with a standing seam roof, and we talked him out of it. And he went with the all metal shingles, which has been used in the neighborhood. And I saw the shingle that he was using. It looked appropriate. So that was also approved as submitted.
So that's the Bachman Williams.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Excellent. And thank you, Stan, for taking care of that. So we're complete with minor reviews and call to the board for discussion.
Just a quickie. In the Arizona Senate, there's an amendment for, well, the original version prescribed demolition of historic structures in historic districts statewide as part of the new code. And it was moving forward. It just got an amendment that could actually affect the Historical Commission, all advisory boards, public hearings, or the way anything happens in Tucson. And it's going to be heard tomorrow at 8 a.m. It's Betty Viegas put up a new one. So it's a case to track. Legislators who do not understand code practice or municipal preference probably shouldn't write the nitty-gritty details suggesting how the code should be interpreted, in my humble opinion.
John, did you comment on that?
I will probably personally call the two Tucson legislators tomorrow morning before the hearing and leave a voicemail at least. But it's coming out of committee, then it could go to the House. There's numerous instances if it passes the committee where it can go to the House and Senate to review, but it's an amendment to the middle housing law that Tucson just approved a version, I think in December, just before the January 1st deadline, that they adjusted all parts of the code citywide for, that could have to go through another year process of doing that again if either of these versions go through. So we should be aware of things that may affect us down the road. So I thought I'd mention it.
Thank you, John, and thank you for keeping an eye on this.
Yeah.
Any other call to the board items?
I don't know if this is a call to the board, but I got a street light out. One of the bulbs are out and one of the street lights right across from the house. I don't know who takes care of that. Is there anybody that takes care of that?
That's a 311 and
Yeah, call 311.
Join the club.
Yeah. You can report it. You'll need the poll number, Stan.
Where do I find the poll number?
It should be about 4 feet up. It's a little sticker that gives an address for your pole.
Okay.
Within your block, and you report that as bulbs out, and they should do it. I will say that there are so many down that they're months back on replacing out bulbs, but you should report it.
Okay. Thank you.
And if it's just a bulb out, that's one thing. But if the copper wires are gone, that's a whole nother story.
No, there are two bulbs on this. It's a dual light and it's got one bulb out. So they got.
Okay.
And it probably has copper and it's good. Okay.
Oh, one other quickie. Yes, Jan is on mayor and council agenda tomorrow for appointment. So it'll take her about a week or 10 days to be processed, but she should be on. So I would recommend that we do the elections on the agenda for officers for 2026 at our next meeting.
Michael, are you there?
I am.
Okay, so can we put the election for officers on the agenda for the March meeting, please?
We will do.
And
Thank you
maybe
so
some
much.
board process, like if we want to switch back to things to consider, if we want to switch back to hybrid meeting and find a location that meets city standards. Trying to explore if the church is an option. The school is still an option, but it's has some access issues.
Right. Okay. John, I'm trying to think. You're on the board. It would be a matter if there was, because to do a hybrid meeting, we just need good Wi-Fi. Would you be willing to work with the church and find out if there's Wi-Fi available?
Yes, I think there's Wi-Fi and a password, but I can work with them. The biggest thing is whether they have a television set that can work. I know that we do have, like the school has a television set that we can plug in, and Michael can bring his laptop and the hotspot. And then I have all the other
Okay.
gadgets for Michael's computer to work to do it as a hybrid meeting. But I'm not sure without a big TV whether it would be possible at the church. So I'll explore it and get back to the board.
Thank you so much, John. Okay, staff updates and future agenda items, information only.
Future agenda item, you just reviewed the case today, and the applicant is promising that he or they
I
will
can't hear
be-
you. I'm
Michael,
sorry,
Michael, we can't hear you.
Okay, let me take. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think my microphone was acting up. So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm saying that we just saw a courtesy review today. The applicant is proposing to come back next month and may submit. As of now, I am waiting for 212 East 17th Street, which had come before you, but the case was continued because there is a porch in the back that was never ever permitted. They are working on coming back to you with all the information and the review for that report, because I verified, and also the zoning staff verified, and we realized that John was correct, that was missed. It was never permitted. So that should be coming back to you. So those are the two cases that I have for this at this point in time that may be coming back to you in March. Secondly, we in the Historic Preservation Office are planning on having an all advisory board training will be scheduled sometimes in March of 2026. And then, as you saw the summary of staff report today, we are continuing to work on process improvement to make the history review process much more friendly and easier for every user, including the board and the mom and pop and everybody. We're working on that. And
I appreciate it. I appreciated the report, Michael. It's good. It could take some tweaks, but I'm gonna have to think about it. But yeah, I appreciate you did that.
thank you. That's what we're asking for. Finally, I will be out of the office for the month of March and eventually April. So I will not be facilitating the meeting in March and the meeting in April. But somebody from our office will be able to step in for me and facilitate the meeting.
Do you think it'll be Jason, or do you think it'll be
It's,
Desiree?
it's either way to be Jason or Desiree. It
Okay.
will just depend on the amount of work that they have at the time while I'm gone. So one of them will have to step in and do it.
So March and half of April.
Yes.
Happy vacation. Are you going back
Yeah.
after?
Yes, I am.
Good. Enjoy yourself.
I'm going, not really vacation, I'm volunteering for a medical mission to help some needy people in war-torn parts of Africa and stuff like that. So I'm just volunteering my time, and I think it is good to volunteer. That's what I want to do. But I'll be back.
Thank you, and that is
You
wonderful.
better be.
John, this is a public service. Michael,
No, that was me. I'm back. Look out.
Oh, yeah, but I welcome back.
So
Thank
nice
you.
to see your face again.
Yeah.
I missed
And
you.
I honestly also want to extend my apology to Matt for back and forward on the email thing that I kept messing up and using not the right email, but I think we got it right this time. So my apologies for that. It's take full responsibility for that.
Yeah, just muttering.
No, Matt, you were going to unmute. So Matt, we're thrilled to have you. Yes?
Thanks, Michael. All should be good now.
Okay, thank you. And again, as we continue to do our process improvement, if there is anything.
Michael, we can't hear you again.
Oh,
yeah.
As we continue to do our process improvement in our office, if there is anything that any of the board members feel that we need to do or we are not doing right, please feel free to contact us, let us know, so that we can work together to make this much easier for everybody. And I want to welcome Martha, John, and Jan for coming back, for being on the board again. Martha and John were there before. Jan is also coming back from PRS and from the Historic Landscape Subcommittee. And I've had the pleasure of working with all of you. So I think we will still continue to work well this time. And welcome.
Thank you, Michael. And I would like to say, even though she's not here, a huge thank you to Helen Erickson for serving as a expert category member of the advisory board for these years. So
Her installation actually helped us, and we also I want also to thank Stan for being willing to also give up his position just so that we could get Jan into that special qualification category.
it was very kind. So if there's nothing else to discuss, 9:08 p.m., we adjourn.
Good night.
Everybody.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you.